So I have heard the suggestion or request, I will say, to record the podcast for YouTube. I haven't done this because the podcast is usually just me. And when it is guests, they're not with me physically. But I can figure out a way to record that. It shouldn't be hard. So, although I personally thought that this would be boring watching one person record a podcast, I am going to heed to the suggestion, request, and post this. So, this will be my tester. So, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the When Whit Happens podcast. This is a podcast that helps you find ways to celebrate and live your best life even when stuff happens. Now, here's your host, Whit West.
Welcome back to the podcast. This is Whit, and I hope you are enjoying the episode so far for 2019. As you probably noticed, we're adding some new content and changing the schedule back to weekly. When I initially started, it seemed like people were more interested in podcasts to be bi-weekly. As they become more popular, weekly seems to be the thing. So here we are with our weekly episodes. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about how I began to put the cart before the horse, if you would say so, and realize that my shit indeed was not all the way together. So I had to work on fixing myself. If you've listened to the podcast so far this year and towards the end of last year, you know that I'm focusing on things that have made me take account of more things in my life that I want to do better with. I have to be a good steward over what I currently have if I expect to be blessed with more. So I decided to look myself in the mirror and ask myself what I can do better. So for being totally honest here, although I'm generally a humble person, the areas where I'm cocky, think jockey / Kanye before the Make America Great Again Trump stuff, one of those areas has definitely been in my career. The job area for me has been fairly easy. I'm a pretty quick learner, and I generally love working in the higher education space. It seems like it was meant for me, and as much as I protested being in education growing up, my family is a family of educators, and I said that that was not going to be me, but look where we are. However, I always say that those things that people have an easy time with, they're sometimes the worst teachers or examples. So I felt like I was becoming a bad example. And as a leader and as someone who is a supervisor and looking to move up in the ranks, I told myself that I can no longer set a bad example regardless of my work quality. So if you don't follow Miley Teal, the owner of Curlbox, you should. Some of her advice really got me together. I had heard it for years, but I only really started to listen to it now. And essentially, that was, you have to do your best work 110, 150% everywhere you are. If you're tired of your job, it doesn't matter. You still need to do your best work. And that's kind of where I am. So some of the things that I decided to do in the new year are to, one, make sure I'm at work on time. And so far this year, I have been at work on time probably 95% of the time. It's been a few days with traffic and weather and things that have thrown me off, but I've been pretty good on a schedule. I want to complete projects at work that I have been lagging on. Also take initiative in new projects. And these last two, they're also coming together because some stuff at work has been completed that we've been working on, and we've made some things better, so that's allowed for the time for those things to happen. So instead of kind of sitting in my comfort, I wanted to kind of push through with those initiatives and projects that had already been started. I want to also get more involved in my professional organizations. So far, I have been featured in a mentor post. I have taken over the social media, and then I'm for an account that the professional organization was starting, and I'm going to be working with them on a few more things. So I'm just trying to be more active and do a lot more networking. And then lastly, I want to take a serious look at doctoral programs that meet my needs and my career goals. So this is a big one for me because I thought I had previously found a program, and now I realize that it really isn't a total match for me. So I'm kind of starting over from ground zero, and some of that has me even more looking at tons of other things, because some of these programs are really expensive, and I need to be able to find a way to pay for them or have them paid for. And that's also having me look at my career path and when I will actually really need that title. These things I really needed to do. Not so much if I expected to do well at my current job. Excuse me. I am doing well. I needed to have them hello. So these aren't things that I needed to do to necessarily improve in my current position, because I'm doing well in my current position, but I needed to do to go on to my next position and not set myself up to fall flat on my face, essentially. I remember, in a way, when I felt like Beyonce was a robot. Yes, I'm about to compare myself to Beyonce, and I feel it within myself. But listen, hear me out. I felt like there was a time where Beyonce was just kind of going through the motions, and I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine that really, in order to keep up and to do her best, as I mentioned before in the podcast with Wes, like she's got to compete against herself. She's got to keep climbing and doing that. Beyonce, she heard my message, because that's my home girl, and she started trying to one up herself and topping herself at every turn, and that's how she became the person that she is today and at the level that she is, and nobody is really coming for her because she's always competing against herself and focusing on herself. So I wanted to do that, man. Can I say I'm the Beyonce of higher education? That's like what I'm trying to be. Okay, how about that? I said what I said. I'm about to level up and try to top myself at every juncture when it comes to my career. So that was pretty easy. The part that was a lot harder is the financial journey. So the finances, if we want to dig deep into that, that's probably going to be a whole other episode. But if you listen at the end of the year, you heard about my tragic relationship with money. But I was really messing up my money. I was really messing up my finances, and I was really holding back from starting. And sometimes you just have to start. If you follow me on social media, and you should if you don't, I'm Whit6 everywhere, then I've paid thousands to debt in the last 3 months. Like, paid off 2 whole cars and some. And I would not have done that if I didn't set the intention of doing better in this area. And lastly, I'm single. Like, real single. I ain't dating nobody. It's just me. And there are certain things that I would love to have in a partner. and some things that are non-negotiables. Shout out to Fola. If I do say so myself, I think I'm a wonderful catch, and everybody should think they're a wonderful catch. But I can't expect somebody to have the qualities that I want if I'm not at least working on those qualities, if I'm not already there yet. If you remember, there was a post by Nicole Ari Parker, and she was talking about the people were asking for the prayer that she used to get Boris, like they asked for the prayer Sierra used to get Russell, and both of them have essentially said and flipped it on themselves and talked about the work that they did on themselves. And I kind of took heed to that advice. You write out your list of the things that you want and let it smack you in the face. And ask yourself if you're up to par in all these areas. I'm working on my finances because I want a financially stable partner. I'm working on my goals and my career because I want someone who is the same and who is also a strong support system and understands. If I don't know what I truly want, it's easy for me to be distracted supporting my partner, focusing on their dream, instead of really focusing on mine, knowing what it is and knowing the goals I want to attain, because that's just me. I'm a helper, so I need to have a very clear goal so that I can keep going towards that as well. I'm working on my health and fitness. I'm not trying to be skinny to meet a man, but I already have health issues. I want someone to not be scared of that and not think that I can't do anything because I am already sick. And so I have to be in that more fearless about talking about my illness, about how I got here, about how I'm getting better, and about how I plan to move forward. I want somebody who's going to really support me in sickness and in health. So I need to do the best that I can to be healthy within my means, so that I'm not sick more than I am healthy. And so I'm taking that part very seriously. And I'm also physically and mentally clearing space in my mind and home. Not so much that I plan for somebody to move into my apartment, not at all. But I actually want to make room for a partner in whatever sense of the being. I like my space. I like living alone. Marriage would be a whole turnaround for me, full 180. So I want to prepare my mind and my space for that eventual happening. I've only lived with women. I grew up with sisters. We were far enough apart that I never shared a room. It's just going to be an adjustment, and I want to start preparing myself and my mind for that. So I say all that to say, really, because I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be. Sometimes I know it looks like, dang, she has all this stuff happening. She has debt, and she's still happy. I mean, I am happy. I'm real happy. I like to live in my favorite city in the world. My sister had a whole human being just so that I could have like a new best friend and grow my heart like 6 times as big and love her to death. Yes, Reagan is like my entire life and being. And I'm like at the best place that I have ever been, essentially, to me in my whole life. And that all is true, but I still have things to work on. I still have things that I can do to better my happiness. I still go to therapy because it's a place where I can talk through things that I'm thinking about, things that I'm going through, and just do it in a healthy manner. And all this to say that none of us are perfect. We have things that we need to fix. There are goals that we can get, but sometimes we have to look, instead of looking so far into the future about what we're trying to get, we need to look at what we have now and fix what's around us, because this is what we're living. Tomorrow isn't promised. So let's make today the best that it can be, fix what's around us, and I'm 100% fixing Whit. Hey! So, that's a wrap. And I don't know how this went. I'll see when I edit the video. And real life, real rap, in the middle of it, got a call from home. But that's just how things go sometimes. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.
Thank you for listening to When Whit Happens. You can find Whit living her best life at whithappens6.com and at whithappens6 on social media. Subscribe and follow for updates. Until next time, keep living your best life.